Let me tell you about the day fear met you. Really met you. Not the you that trembles. Not the you that hides. Not the you that apologizes for existing. But the real you. The you that was waiting. The you that was watching. The you that was growing stronger in silence. Fear thought it knew you, didn't it? Thought it had your number. Thought it had your measure. Thought it knew all your weak spots. All your breaking points. All your surrender moments. Fear had been living rent-free in your head for so long. It got comfortable. Got cocky. Got careless. It knew exactly which memories to play to make you small. Exactly which words to whisper to keep you quiet. Exactly which shadows to cast to keep you hidden. But fear got sloppy, got too confident, got too sure of its power over you. And that's when everything changed. Remember that day when fear came knocking like it always did? Expecting you to cower like you always had, waiting for you to break like you always would. But something was different. Something had shifted. Something had changed. You were tired. Not the kind of tired that makes you weak. The kind of tired that makes you dangerous. The kind of tired that makes you stop caring about consequences. The kind of tired that makes you look fear in the eye and say, not today. Fear wasn't ready for that. Wasn't ready for you to stand your ground. Wasn't ready for you to bare your teeth. Wasn't ready for you to push back. See, fear had gotten used to monologues, but you turned it into a conversation. Fear had gotten used to declarations, but you turned them into questions. Fear had gotten used to your surrender, but you turned it into a battle cry. That's when fear learned something new about you. Your soft voice could carry thunder. Your gentle hands could form fists. Your kind heart could grow armor. Fear tried its old tricks, showing you all the ways things could go wrong. Reminding you of all your past failures, whispering all your deepest doubts. But you weren't the same anymore. You'd grown thorns beneath your silk. You'd forged steel beneath your skin. You'd built fire beneath your fear. That's when fear realized its mistake. It had been so busy trying to keep you afraid, it didn't notice you learning its language. It had been so focused on keeping you down, it didn't see you studying its moves. It had been so intent on keeping you weak, it didn't feel you getting stronger. Let me tell you about that moment. When fear looked into your eyes, expecting to find submission, and found defiance instead. Expecting to see surrender, and saw revolution instead. Expecting to find a victim, and found a warrior instead. Fear didn't know what to do with that. Didn't know how to handle someone who had turned their trembling into tremors that shook the ground. Someone who had turned their anxiety into ammunition for their arsenal. Someone who had turned their panic into power for their purpose. That's when fear learned the truth. It had never been your master. It had been your teacher. Every time it tried to break you, it was just showing you where to build strength. Every time it tried to silence you, it was just teaching you how to roar. Every time it tried to stop you, it was just training you how to fight. Fear thought it was destroying you, but it was actually creating its own worst nightmare Someone who had felt all the fear, tasted all the terror, faced all the panic, and decided to keep going anyway. Let me tell you about the day fear met you. Really met you. The you that had learned to breathe underwater. The you that had learned to walk through fire. The you that had learned to dance with dragons. Fear thought it knew fear. Thought it understood power. Thought it recognized strength. But it had never met someone who had turned their fear into fuel, their panic into power, their anxiety into authority. That's when fear learned something crucial. It had created something it couldn't control. It had trained someone it couldn't tame. It had awakened something it couldn't put back to sleep. You want to know the beautiful irony? Fear gave you this gift. Every time it tried to make you smaller, it just showed you how big you could become. Every time it tried to make you quieter, it just taught you how loud you could be. Every time it tried to make you weaker, it just proved how strong you already were. Let me tell you about the day fear met you. The real you. The unstoppable you. The unbreakable you. The unforgettable you. That was the day fear learned what real fear feels like. That was the day fear understood what true power looks like. That was the day fear realized what it had accidentally created. Someone who had turned their fear into their greatest strength. Now fear works for you. Now panic powers you. Now anxiety arms you. Because that's what happens when fear meets someone who refuses to be afraid of being afraid. That's what happens when fear meets someone who has learned to use their terror as a tool, their panic as a power, their fear as a force. Let me tell you about the day fear met you. The day everything changed. The day the hunted became the hunter. The day the victim became the victory. The day fear learned to fear you. And that was just the beginning. Now look at you, standing here, eyes like lightning, heart like thunder, soul like fire. Fear still comes around sometimes, trying its old tricks, whispering its old lies, playing its old games. But now you just smile, because you can see the future clearly. Every challenge that comes, every obstacle that rises, every mountain that appears, is just another chance to show fear who's boss now. Tomorrow will bring new battles, new demons, new reasons to tremble. But they don't know what's coming. They don't know what fear created. When it tried to destroy you, they'll see you walking through their nightmares like they're nothing but dreams. They'll watch you dance with their darkness like it's nothing but light. They'll witness you face their storms like they're nothing but breeze. Because that's what happens when fear meets its match, when terror meets its teacher, when panic meets its power. You're not just surviving anymore. You're not just enduring. You're not just getting by. You're becoming something fear has never seen before. Something it never meant to create. Something it can never uncreate. Let the future come. Let the challenges rise. Let the mountains grow. Because now they all have to face what fear created when it met you. A force that turns terror into triumph. A power that turns panic into peace. A strength that turns fear into freedom. This is your legacy. This is your destiny. This is your truth. Fear didn't just meet its match that day. It met its master. And every tomorrow that comes will only prove it more. Watch how your future unfolds. Not in spite of your fear, but because of it. Not running from your terror, but riding it. Not hiding from your panic, but harnessing it. This is what happens when fear meets someone who knows how to turn tomorrow's terrors into today's triumphs. Fear doesn't live here anymore. It works here, under new management, under your command, under your control. And every future that comes will have to deal with that truth. Fear met its match in you and lost forever.